This is an interview with Willard A. Eldridge for the Stoneham Public Library Stoneham Oral History Project by Maxine G. Schultz at the Stoneham Library on Monday, May 12, 1975 at 2:30 p.m. Mr. Eldridge, before we begin talking about Stoneham's 250th anniversary celebration and the part you are playing in it, would you like to talk a little bit about yourself?
My name is Will Eldridge. I live at 2 Oak Street in Stoneham. I was born in Framingham, Massachusetts. My wife's name is Mildred, formerly Dempsey. I have 2 children, Janet and Stephen. All were born in Stoneham. I came to Stoneham in the spring of 1919, just after a great March blizzard which tied up streetcars and moving trucks for several days. I graduated from Stoneham High School in 1932, when the Great Depression was at its worst. I served the start of World War II and through the war with the U.S. Army ski troops, which was a key element in the final victories in Italy. Prior to leaving the workforce, I served as a research and development contract specialist with the U.S. Army Natick Laboratories in Natick, Mass.
And before you came out of the Army, you were a colonel, were you not?
I was a lieutenant colonel in the reserve forces.
Mr. Eldridge, you are a member of Stoneham's Bicentennial Celebration Committee, and in addition to yourself, there is a chairperson and other members. Would you please mention the names of these people and talk a little bit about their duties and assignments, if you would, please?
Yes. Mrs. Irene Dempsey is the chairperson. We have subcommittees established. For church activities, Ruth Gerish is in charge. For school activities, Irene Dempsey, the chairperson. For fire and police activities, Dr. Tom Devlin. For the Veterans and Memorial Day activities, Bob Murphy and Dr. Devlin. For arts and crafts and garden club, Ruth Cogan. For the youth group, Mary Wiley. For our townwide country fair and picnic, Steve Rotundi and Jim Kellogg. For public library and the Historical Society activities, we have Helen Kinsley, president of the Historical Society, and Mrs. Nancy O'Brien. Stoneham Business Association and publicity is handled by Cleon Ross and Beverly Walsh. The bicentennial signs, our information booth which travels around, and other miscellaneous activities are handled by Marilyn Mercer, Dave Kinney, and Tino Manicello. Fund development is handled by John Hanwright. I am the parade chairman, and the banquet and ball is chaired by Nick Apalakis. We have a committee for medals and souvenirs, which has Charlie and Rosemary Lavangi. The Council of Churches representative is John Candris, and our organizational overall coordinator is Mr. Fred Lawson, who was also a member of Stoneham's 200th anniversary committee in 1925. This gentleman is now about 84 years of age and a very active committee man.
Would you like to talk about the program of events, Mr. Eldridge, that have been held in Stoneham up to the present time, and what we may expect in the forthcoming weeks?
The committee planned an elaborate program, and it started back on January 19th with a forum at the New England Memorial Hospital. On February 8th, the annual Stoneham High School Carnival Ball had a 250th anniversary theme. On the 24th of February, our League of Women Voters had their Candidates Night. Moving into the 9th of March, various churches conducted festivals of faith, and there was a school play at the high school. Also, the first week in April, a school spring concert at the high school. On April 8th, our community concert organization had their concert at the junior high school and featured our 250th anniversary committee. On the 19th of April, our group, with a float, participated in the country's bicentennial parade at Lexington, Massachusetts. And on the 26th of April, our Redstone business associates in the Redstone Shopping Center staged a bicycle safety rodeo. Just last week, we were very active on the 3rd and 4th of May with Girl Scouts in the spirit of 75 putting on their activities at Camp Alyeska, which is in the Middlesex Falls area. On the same days, the New England Memorial Hospital Greater Boston Academy, which is a high school, put on the Miracle Worker, which featured Helen Keller as a child in Alabama. On May 4th, in the afternoon, we had a combined church walk, and that brings us up to the present.
Yes, I think we've had some very good programs, Mr. Eldridge.
We have some more coming up, and I can tell you about those at this time. On the end of this week, the 16th of May, we have the Art Festival at Stoneham High School, followed on the 18th, Sunday afternoon, by the committee's participation in Hospital Day at the New England Memorial Hospital. We are sponsoring the obesity clinic and will have our information booth there along with our float. After the float participates in the Malden Bicentennial Parade at 1 p.m. that day. On May 25th, the following Sunday, we have a special program at the Old South School on Geary Street, which will feature an alumni homecoming and historical skit portraying a school committee of the period of the Civil War. There will also be an open house by the Dorcas Society, which currently occupies the building. This is a disaster-serving organization similar to the Red Cross and operates under the auspices of the New England Memorial Hospital. Moving along to Memorial Day, on the 26th of May, we have an afternoon parade which this year will feature a stop at the Colonial Cemetery on Pleasant Street, where we will decorate the grave to honor 33 Revolutionary War dead who rest there. This has not been done in recent years, and on our 250th anniversary, this is a fitting tribute to those gentlemen who died in that war. On the 6th and 7th of June, we move on down to our Whip Hill Conservation Area, where the Arts and Crafts and Garden Club will have their activities on both Friday and Saturday. so that all people may be served. On July the 13th, we start the youth program at Recreation Park with competition of drill teams. And on the 19th of July, there will be other activities, including a rock concert for the youth groups. Stoneham Business Association is to be featured on July 30th through August 2nd with a downtown sidewalk sale, which has in past years been quite successful and will be an asset to our 250th anniversary celebration. On the 10th of August, we should have one of our feature attractions when we have a great fireman's muster. The firemen are trying to locate the old pieces of apparatus from Goffstown, New Hampshire, and Edaville, Mass., which at one time were a part of the Stoneham Department when it was hauled by man before it was hauled by horse, and this is going to be a great affair. This will be followed on the 16th of August by a country fair and town-wide picnic with a Rotary bean supper and brass band concert. This should be a great attraction for young and old. On the 29th of August, the firemen will conduct a social at Montvale Plaza. And then, moving into September, as we start the fall of the year, the public library will have a traveling bicentennial slideshow. And the local historical society will have a walking tour of Central Street. The week-long traveling bicentennial show will terminate on the 20th of September, and the walking tour of Central Street area, old houses and churches, will be on that day. On the 27th of September, the following Sunday, there will be an Historical Society pilgrimage tour of some of the old houses which remain standing in Stoneham. On the 5th of October, our municipal golf course, operated by the Unicorn Recreation Committee, is having a day of golf and skating for the local residents to honor the 250th anniversary. And then the climax comes on October the 18th, when we have the 250th and bicentennial parade, which also aligns itself with the high school homecoming at the Montvale Plaza, featuring a great 250th anniversary banquet and ball. And that about ties up our program for the rest of the year through the 18th of October.
Well, I think it's a great program, Mr. Eldridge. It certainly sounds like there's plenty of activities forthcoming. You briefly mentioned that Stoneham was in the 19th of April parade. Would you like to go into that a little bit in depth and talk a little bit about the parade and who was in it and so forth? I know you were there.
Well, most of the folks that I mentioned played a part in readying the float. That is, buying the materials, the carpentry, the painting, and the rigging of the float. We got a major assist from Mr. Ken Ford, who donated the use of a 15-foot flatbed trailer for the rest of the year, and from the Stoneham Public Works community-spirited employees who helped to get the trailer rolling. One gave his full day off to haul us to, in, and from the Lexington Bicentennial Parade. The float we use is a replica of the 10-footer shoe house, which was common in the early days of family shoemaking in the town of Stoneham. And we use this symbol of our little shoe house on the souvenir commemorative medal, which has the town seal on one side and the little shoe house with the shoemaker sitting out in the open on the other side. This is a key item for our celebration, and these are available to the townspeople at reasonable prices.
All right, I think that's a good account of the parade. Do you want to talk anything now about the budget? Am I correct in saying that you are the financial coordinator on the budget, Mr. Eldridge?
I was doing the budget and spoke at the town meeting requesting $17,500 as a budget item for use by the committee in supporting the events which I have enumerated above. This was a supplement to an original allocation at a previous town meeting of $2,500. So the committee is currently operating with appropriated funds of $20,000. This is allocated out to each of the above-mentioned groups to support their activities, and based upon submission of vouchers by each organization, the funds are dispersed by the town treasurer. Of course, the most costly event that we have planned is the great parade on the 18th of October. It is well known that band and march units exist and have to have materials, new instruments, and they are paid to participate in various parades in all of the towns that they go to. One of the key things that has pushed costs up in these times is the energy crisis, which has raised transportation costs to almost double what they were a year ago. And we have allocated $4,000 of our appropriated funds to the parade. And this is currently being supplemented by some spirited citizens who have donated additional funds in order to make the parade a larger one than $4,000 would allow.
Fine, Mr. Eldridge. I understand that anniversary plates, commemorative coins, calendars, and stationery are available for purchase. Would you like to comment on where these items may be purchased and the price of each? Say a little bit about that.
Plates are available, and they are made of a ceramic and being featured by the Stoneham Ledger newspaper at a price of 2 for $15. They portray the little shoemaker design and the town seal on each of the 2 plates. Coins, which I mentioned above, are available at the Savings Bank, Cooperative Bank, and the Middlesex Bank, with bronze being $5 and silver $15, or a numbered set of limited edition at a price of $20. These make a good item for putting on a pendant for gifts to ladies, especially the silver one when it is properly encircled with a silver band. We have shoe house plaques, which were an historical society item showing our little shoe house, which rests in back of the Historical Society on William Street. This is an item that sells for $3. Calendars have recently been withdrawn from the market, but they were selling at $1 each, and we now have stationery and maps, with the stationery featuring 4 hand-drawn sketches at $2 a box for 3 each of the 4 sketches. This makes an excellent small cost gift, and the maps of the vintage of 1874 are priced at $1 each. Many residents are interested to find their houses on the 100-year-old map of the town.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to interject at this point, Mr. Eldridge, that it is a local artist, none other than Janet Eldridge, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Willard Eldridge, who did the pen and ink sketches on the stationery and on the calendars. A very talented and creative young lady, I might add. I think we've covered that area quite well. Now, we all know that a lot of people have done a lot of work to make the 250th anniversary celebration a success. Now, is there anything you would like to add at this time that we may have overlooked, Mr. Eldridge?
Well, the committee tried to plan something to cover the varied interests of the townspeople in general. We portray it as a good time to stay around town and enjoy the activities, particularly now that we have an energy crisis, 55-mile speed limit, and the cost of gasoline, subject to further taxes, now being almost double what it was a year and a half ago. We encourage general participation and give a verbal guarantee that everyone will gain from this celebration of our great country's 200th and our old shoe town's 250th anniversary activities in 1975.
Well, I think we have a very good program, and I want to thank you, Mr. Eldridge, for coming in today and making this interview possible. And I know that you are giving your full time to this job of working on the 250th anniversary committee, and I compliment you and extend my admiration to you for doing this.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Schultz. It's been my pleasure to come and do this interview with you for the history of the town, and I think the public library is doing a great municipal service in recording this for the posterity and those who may be looking to celebrate the 300th anniversary of our town and, of course, the upcoming 250th anniversary of our great country. And we wish them all the luck in the world in having their celebrations as good as we have planned in 1975. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Willard Eldridge.